fortunately or unfortunately, you're about to watch me super fan out so hard, because the man I'm about to introduce you to has genuinely, he's a pioneer who's taken South African football, and particularly South African football management, to levels that I think that have never been seen before all over the world, and he's here tonight. Some people have traveled to eNCA studios in Johannesburg from Hammanskraal just to meet him, and I'm feeling like I would have driven from much further to do the same. So without further ado, please make some mother flipping noise for Pitso Mosimane! I shouldn't have gushed that hard, because now how am I going to ask you some hard questions?
No, I'm humbled. Thanks for having me in your show. You've done well for yourself. I've followed you, so I'm also pleased to be here, and I'm just humbled by the people who traveled from Hammanskraal to be here. It's an honor. I don't take it for granted.
Well, Pitso Mosimane, we're thrilled to have you. So for those of you who don't know, who are not soccer religious like I am, for me it's genuinely like a spiritual practice. This man has presided over what I don't let anybody get upset, but what I still think is fair to say, one of the most successful soccer teams in the history of South African football, Mamelodi Sundowns, coached Bafana, went to, I think by money or fans, at least outside of South Africa, the biggest African football club at all in Egypt, Al Ahly, and then took on Abu Dhabi, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. And in a context where South African coaches struggle to get jobs anywhere else in the world, this man has genuinely occupied roles in some of the biggest clubs on the continent and beyond. It's so nice to have you here. Truly, truly, truly. What out of all of those clubs and all of those countries do you feel is the standout moment when you go, how did that happen?
It's hard to say how did that happen at that time or when. I think I should just talk about the process, because the process gave the outcomes, and these are the outcomes at the moment. But the process is like these boys who come from Hammanskraal, who are here from humble beginnings, and given an opportunity to play football for Jomo Cosmos. So honor to Jomo Sono and Skrima Chabalala, who really gave me an opportunity whilst I was still at school, playing football at school. Wow. But as we go on, SuperSport United gave me the platform, and that's the beginning also, you know, up till where I am. So how did it come is through those processes. SuperSport United, Bafana gave me a chance to be in the World Cup, to play against Spain, Germany, Brazil. I mean, it's unbelievable. Where in the world will you have that opportunity? So I was lucky to be part of that process and see Cristiano Ronaldo played then, even now when I was in Saudi. So yeah, football has given me that opportunity, but you must grab the opportunity also, and you must always be ready and not take it for granted.
For sure. Now, Pitso Mosimane, you are an impressively humble man, but unfortunately this interview is about you. So I need you to show off a little bit, just a little bit, however uncomfortable it is. What do you think has made you such a successful coach that other countries' footballing communities have gone, you know, we've never heard of hiring a South African manager before, but we will hire this man?
I just believe in working hard, and I believe in preparation. And if you work hard, if you prepare, but obviously you need to understand the subject matter. What are you dealing with, and know what the world is doing, and understand where you are at the moment in that space. So, and I have to give credit to the Premier Soccer League, because they are the people who prepared me. Without them, I would not have been where I am. You know, I played against good opponents. The Gavin Hans of this world. I mean, the guy has won about 4 trophies in PSL, and I still believe that he could have been ahead of me, but you know how life is. Chances come to you, and you must take it, you know, but I have a big respect for somebody like him. But it's all about preparation and understanding what's happening, but you need to work hard. People always think that you work smart. Okay, I like working smart. Who doesn't want?
You gotta work smart and hard. Yeah. So, Pitso, I wanted to ask you, everybody knows who watches football, or they've got some idea of the fact that different countries have different soccer cultures. And that comes down to playing style, like in the 90s in Italy with Catenaccio,
Yeah.
the idea being don't concede and you will eventually win.
Yes, yes.
You only need one goal. In England, they like to do wrestling and call it soccer sometimes.
Yeah.
In South Africa, we like to have flair and
Yeah.
we like to expose opponents. And
yes.
I often think that that's kind of a mental game
Yeah.
because if you're 2-0 up and then you humiliate somebody with a shibobo, it's just knocking them off of their rhythm and ability to respond.
Yeah.
But what I want to know from you is now that you've gone to places like Abu Dhabi, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Iran, how are their cultures of football different to South Africa?
Nothing is the same as South Africa. South Africa
Really?
has got its own flavor. South Africa, people like to say Brazil is nearly the same. Yes, a little bit the same. Brazilian football, nearly the same as South African soccer. But we have our own flair. We've got our own way of manipulating the ball. We know how to play. We know South African players, they come out of spaces, tight areas where you never thought that a player can come out in a match out of that position. But also, we have to also accept that now the easiest part when you are facing a goalkeeper to put the ball away, to score a goal, we also struggle with that. You know, we do the difficult part, but the easiest part we don't do. And probably maybe is a difficult part because that makes who you are. You cannot talk about Lionel Messi, the way he dribbles or manipulates the ball without scoring. You can't speak about Vinicius Jr. or Mbappe without scoring. So we need to score a lot in South Africa. Yesterday I was watching Wolves playing Man United. I saw Munetsi, the boy who was playing for Orlando Pirates, and they used him as a midfielder or a 6, 8 or 6, you know, in the midfield.
Yeah.
But he was playing as a 9 yesterday, you know, as a striker. So really shows that international football and local football are totally different. I was playing as a striker sort of when I started here at Cosmos and Sundowns, and suddenly when I went to play football in Europe, they put me on the side as a winger because maybe probably didn't score enough or strong enough to be a 9. So international football is totally different from, but it's also positioning. It's also where the coach feels he can get the best out of you when you play. You know, so yeah, we have the flair. We play well. But as long as we don't have players in League One, in La Liga, in Primera Liga, in the Premier League, in Serie A, that's where the whole thing is.
Totally.
No, we can always say we are good, but we need to have players playing in that level because it also gives opportunities to the others that will follow. You know, we have Lyle Foster now, but he's not yet there. Sometimes injuries, sometimes they say mental situation. We had Pesita, we had Brighton. He never made the team to play.
And we all miss Stephen Pienaar and Benny McCarthy so much.
Those were the guys.
Because they made it and they were so successful.
Those are the guys.
And it's funny what you were saying about South Africans not being able to take chances, which is ultimately what soccer is about, right? Again, if you don't score, you're not going to win. And the hold that Benny McCarthy has over all of us, because he could do that
He could put the ball
so
away.
well,
Yes.
and no one else really can. It's a problem.
Yes, but Benny was not a dribbler. Pienaar can sort himself out.
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say? Benny was a finisher and top striker. He could score at any time. That's why players like Atlakompela also played in Europe and they could finish. Yeah. But also, football is not about those who finish also. We need also good defenders. We had Lucas Radebe. We had O.J. Mabizela who could play. We had Mark Fish. So we also had defenders, if we don't talk about only the flair and the skill. So we had the goalkeeper, Andre, was playing for Fulham. Yeah. So it means we have capacity to play at all the levels.
Yeah. Tell me about Pitso Mosimane Youth Football. The tagline for the thing is creating the player of tomorrow.
Creating
because
a player of
you've clearly
tomorrow.
thought so much about what needs to happen in South Africa to get our players with the talent, the level of conditioning, training and introduction to the game to make it to the top.
Yes, because then I've been around and I also know why I did not make the biggest success in Europe. And I also know why we don't have a Manchester United, a Man City, a Real Madrid player, a Barcelona, And I've also been a coach, as I said, in Bafana, where we played everybody. We played Spain, Germany, Brazil, Italy. We played all those players, all those teams to prepare for the World Cup. And I've also been the coach of Bafana. And I've now, being outside, I've played against the best teams in the continent, like Al Ahly, Esperance, Wydad. Those are the best team in the continent. Nobody can say anything. If you have to check which team has won the Champions League more than the other teams in the continent, I mean, 70% or 85% of those trophies are won by the North Africans, you know, and we can say they don't have the flair that we don't have, but then put the flair and win it.
Totally.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? And I've been playing against Sadio Mane, Ronaldo, Riyad Mahrez, just mention all these big names that we all know. I've played against them on the pitch, Kante and all that. And then I see what's the really challenge we have in South Africa, why we don't have players in those spaces, and how do we do that? So everybody talks about football development, but we don't really talk about how to do that.
Yeah.
So how to do is the program, is what you say. Positioning, manipulating the ball, we need that because that's what makes Neymar and Vinicius Juniors who they are. Rodrigo's. We need about the physical side. That's why the physical side, people think only the strength. It's not only that. Speed is also part of physical side of the game. And we need also things that we don't even think about them, which is the nutrition. And we also need to know how to condition the player,
For sure.
how to train him to be able to play in those spaces. And it's not all about the size, because if you look at yesterday's match, there were one guy small like this playing the Premier League, the Senegalese, I forgot the name. Top player is not as big as we suppose. Rodrigo is the same as Mofokeng of Orlando Pirates.
Well, I mean, Modric is this big and maybe the greatest central midfielder of the modern generation.
Iniesta and them. So it's not all about the size. It's a package.
Sure.
And also not forgetting the mentality and the social lifestyles and social life skills, the attitude to win, the attitude to persevere. Can you do it when it's difficult, on difficult conditions? How do you want to win? How much more do you want it? You know, how you train. Do you really like it or you want it?
Yes,
you know what I'm
understand.
trying to say? You know how for you to be where you are at this moment, how hard you worked, how you prepared, and you need to do things different. So we don't have that culture in the country of
So tell me
doing
about
that.
Pitso Mosimane Youth Football. What is it? Is it an academy? Can people do trials to get in?
We first at the schools where we are, Kiro has given us opportunity to do physical education, and you can ask yourself why that before football is to make sure that the locomotion, the body functions well, coordination. It doesn't matter whether you're going to play rugby or whatever. You need to fix the body to hop, to jump, to shoot. Before you shoot, you need to step right. You need to put your foot, you know, it's a physiology. So you need to do that. So that's where we start. And then we also put football in the schools. We train the schools team. We prepare them. We say to a player, if you're playing for Randburg Football Club, for example, or you're playing for Pitso Mosimane Football Club, which what we have also, but you have done 2-3 sessions at the school, because I know when they go to the township or when they go to their clubs, the coach they train 2 times. You can never be good when you train 2 times a week. So we give them so many training sessions. By the time they come there, the coach of the football club also has had the player being trained how to pass, how to shoot, how to coordinate, how to jump, speed, strength, coordination, and all that. So that's what we do. And then we have formed now football clubs.
Amazing.
Out of that. And then we give the boys an opportunity. And the future is the academy, the elite. That's the future.
Amazing. Man, that's so exciting. And it's so exciting that you are leading this kind of project with all the know-how and the experience that
Yes,
you talked
we also train coaches. We've got about 100 coaches. I make sure that they go through the induction phases, and they have to qualify from CAF SAFA D license. But we're also doing that. Currently, we are busy writing a coaching manual.
Cool.
We will release it. Hopefully, we'll be here to
so
show
that I
it.
can finally be a coach.
Yeah. Anybody, the parents, anybody must learn. So we're trying to do the football the right way, because sometimes you complain about football and then sometimes you talk about only facilities. Oh, we don't have facilities. Oh, we have facilities. So it's like in academic side, you need to have the teacher,
Yeah.
you need to have the textbook,
Yeah.
you need to have the student to pitch. The student must have an attitude to learn. The coach must love it. The teacher must love it. Then we can produce entrepreneurs.
Sure.
Without those basics and principles, we won't do well. So I'm trying to say that I know how I was developed. I missed certain steps. So I can't let all the children in South Africa miss those steps, because I've seen what has happened on the other side.
For sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, I'm so glad you're doing it. Make some noise for Pitso Mosimane, guys. What a wonderful interview. Such an inspirational story.